by reaching out into the stars and being at every new frontier of development in electronics, Toshiba is able to bring the bright new ideas and technology developed for outer space right through to your place. Toshiba communicates with a nicely balanced selection of sophisticated radios, stereo radio cassette recorders, and superb hi-fi systems to fill your world with great sound. Toshiba brings you the modern service of quick, clean, convenient, and energy-saving microwave cooking. Another of Toshiba's many superior products are super quiet rotary compressor air conditioners to bring you cool relief in summer and warm comfort in the winter months. And for your relaxation, Toshiba has a superb range of color television sets from the largest furniture models right through to go-anywhere little portables. Choose from this range and you know you're getting the best of today's exciting ideas because they come from Toshiba.
Look, I think in some ways luck beats skill, and so I think Ripple has made a lot of smart decisions. We've also been fortunate to find ourselves in the right place at the right time. There is, I think, appropriately a lot of excitement around blockchain. There should be, but I think the hype in many cases is ahead of the reality. Within that excitement, Ripple's focus on solving a real problem for real customers and being really the only blockchain company with real production customers has put us in a really powerful position. What has served me well over the last 20 years in Silicon Valley looking at these opportunities is thinking about, at the end of the day, you got to solve a real problem. As we talk about ICOs, and I know it's one of the topics we'll cover today, if you're not solving a real problem, there's not real utility, you have to ask yourself, well, why? What is the point here? And I think that when I think about the long-term value of XRP, when I think of the long-term value of any digital asset, it's about the utility, the problem it's solving, and the size of that problem. If there's real utility, then over an arc of time, the value of that token is going to reflect the value in solving that problem and delivering on that utility.
So if you could go back and reinvent Bitcoin with fundamental bit approach, what would you do?
I mean, you can't really answer that one because you kind of did that, and XRP is the result.
That is kind of exactly what we did. We had the advantage of looking at how Bitcoin had performed for about 2 years, seeing what we liked and what we didn't like, and we had the opportunity to keep what we liked and change what we didn't like. But I think one of the key differences and one of the important things is building in governance from the beginning. I think people were very naive in the beginning that you didn't need governance. Everybody could just enforce all the rules. But I think Bitcoin has demonstrated on several different occasions, particularly when there are bugs. I don't know if any of you remember there was a blockchain fork where humans had to decide which of two chains would win because the rules were a bit ambiguous, and human intervention was necessary, actual human consensus. And I think one of the key things that Bitcoin got wrong, largely either for ideological reasons or lack of experience, was they didn't realize the importance of some kind of governance. And I think they pay that price to this day because it's very difficult for the protocol to adapt. One thing that we all thought in the early days of Bitcoin was that if any new technology came out or any new protocol, they couldn't unseat Bitcoin or threaten Bitcoin dominance because Bitcoin could just adopt any technology that was beneficial. And I think time has proven that you need governance to adopt new technology. So the difference between consensus and proof of work, boy, it's kind of hard to put in layman's terms. It's even hard to put proof of work in layman's terms. But I think the key difference is that proof of work is a system. Well, let me talk first about what problem they're both trying to solve. They're solving the same problem, and that problem is not how do we know what transactions are valid, because we all know what transactions are valid. We test them for validity. The problem that we have is that a system like Bitcoin or Ripple or any cryptocurrency system can make forward progress in different directions that are both legal. So if I have one Bitcoin or one XRP or one Litecoin or one anything, I could decide to give it to you, or I could decide to give it to you. And something has to stop me from doing both of those things. That's really the problem that both proof of work and distributed agreement protocols are trying to solve. How do we decide which of those two transactions we're going to rely on? Because if we pick different ones, we have a problem. If he trusts that I paid him and Stefan thinks I paid him, now we have a problem because we've either created two Bitcoins or someone thinks they have a Bitcoin they don't. Now, proof of work solves that problem in a way that's conceptually decentralized in the sense that anybody can mine, but it's functionally centralizing because someone will have the lowest price on electricity, someone will have the best mining hardware. It hasn't produced the actual decentralization that it promised to produce. And I think as far as distributing the currency initially, what really happens is people wind up getting Bitcoin, selling them, and using them to pay for electricity, which is value generated by the ecosystem proof of work is built on top of that doesn't go into that ecosystem. But I think also, if you want competition, proof of work really can't give it to you because you can't change the system. Let's say I want to compete with Bitcoin and I want to make some changes to it. The problem is if I can't incentivize miners to the tune of millions of dollars a day, I don't even have a secure network. So I can't even get through the door. What it does is it gives Bitcoin a sort of position as at the top and network effects because there's a giant moat around it. It's made it very expensive to compete with it. I don't think we want systems that get adoption because it's expensive to compete with them. We want systems that get adoption because they're the best.
All the money.